who is one of the members of our board, a valued member of our board, and also the chairperson of the fundraising committee. Am I right?
I am.
Yes, absolutely. And this is an exciting time for fundraising.
It is.
And tell me about some recent fundraisers.
Well, we're in the final stages of our Valentine's fundraiser.
Yeah.
We started it last Tuesday. Order went in last night, so sorry guys if you were hoping to get some sweets for your sweet.
Cut off.
It's a little cut off now. Yeah, and tomorrow about noon, our Cupids take flight and are going to be delivering these lovely, tasty candies.
Or Valkyries. You can go as a
Valkyrie,
Cupid. I'm going as a Valkyrie.
Okay, fair enough. I have black wings, does that count?
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, you definitely qualify as a Valkyrie. You got it. Wow, that's exciting. And so, how many of each one ended up being sold? Because we've got some. These are 6s, right?
Yeah, these ones are the sixlets. They're chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And we sold 10 of these ones.
Okay. What
Those
about those?
are our cinnamon heart and gummy mix, and we sold. These were the top seller, honestly, and I can't remember how many. It was like 50 or 60 of them.
Yeah, those were the main ones. What about these over here?
And then the gummy bears, they were our number 2, and we sold probably about 23 or 24, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All said and done, we sold 87.
Wow.
Yeah.
87. Well, that's a very successful
showing love.
fundraiser. Well, this isn't your first go at a fundraiser either. You've been actively involved in, well, several things, but with SAPA, what's been your drive in the fundraising committee?
I think it's mostly with more money in our organization, we can do more cool things. We can provide more seminars, workshops, that type of thing. Get the education out there and just grow our community and have fun.
Absolutely. So what's coming up in SAPA? I haven't been paying as good attention as I probably should have. What's new and hot?
Well, this evening we had our Spirit Warriors.
So good.
And we met at Top's Pizza. Really good food, by the way. We had a wonderful discussion. And then tomorrow, like I said, our Valkyries are flying off.
Yeah.
On Saturday, we have our Brewing with Witches.
Brewing with Witches, it's one of the more popular events.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. We talk about it a lot on SAPA Speaks. And we're always talking about how accessible it is, right?
It is, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we try to have it at different local venues throughout the city. This week we are at Johnny Bean.
Okay, Johnny Bean.
Yeah,
Good.
I've never been personally, but I've heard good things. So
Johnny
looking
Bean's
forward.
good. Make really good coffee.
Yeah, and our brewings are really casual. They're like a meet and greet, and I mean you don't have to worry about not knowing anyone. That's the point of brewing: is come, meet, hang, make friends.
Absolutely, and I guess that's one of the reasons it's so well attended and so popular is because it's low pressure. You know, it's just let's hang out and talk and get to know the community and that sort of thing. No, that's great. And as I understand it, was it just recently that you've been planning the Brewing with Witches?
I did. I took over for Kit, who stepped down last year.
Okay.
And they did a wonderful job forming the foundation. So I just have to really carry that on and find some new locations. And if anybody has suggestions on where they want to have coffee, please let me know.
Right.
Because I'm always open for suggestions.
Oh, absolutely. And that's one of the huge things at SAPA, as I understand it, is choosing local.
We support all our local.
Supporting these local shops, the coffee shops, downtown businesses, and that sort of thing, which is neat. Just recently we had a wonderful magical meandering where we got to visit a lot of these sort of southern Albertan small town shops, even High River, like places that you wouldn't even think to look.
Yeah.
Exactly. Nanton, Fort McLeod. It was really neat to see how much there is out there, you know, in these tiny little towns. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what was hit up. There was Sarah Tricker in Fort McLeod. A small group went there. There was Rite of Ritual, of course, in Calgary. You know, the bigger city, very beautiful shop. We went to, I'm trying to think, there was High River was Relax, and they had the, tarot readings. There's an essay tarot
Nice.
readings being on.
Nice.
And what am I missing here?
Mystic Rebel.
Mystic. How did I forget Mystic Rebel? It's my favorite place in the world. And next to it is Mike's barber shop where Puppy lives. So, of course, Mystic Rebel, always a fan favorite. I think they were really happy for the patronage. In terms of people spending money, that's where most of it happened. Because, of course, they have such lovely things, really well priced. And I find that with a lot of these small towns, is they have well-priced pagan items, items that are of interest to people in the pagan community. And they're just, you walk in there and it's all smiles. And, people are really happy
it's a
to
little
see
more
you.
relaxed.
Oh, absolutely.
Just chill. And I find that they're highly informative and they're willing to share that knowledge. If you have any questions, you can usually ask.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So what else do we have coming up? There are a few events, I think, that Crones and Sages is another group, I think, that you've been having an active... You're now
I am now the chair of Crones and Sages.
You're taking over!
I am, and it wasn't intentional. It really wasn't.
It's all good. So tell me a little bit about Crones and Sages and your part in it.
Well, Crones and Sages is a group for those who are a little further along the way, either in age or along their path. So they've been practicing for quite some time. And it's a more mature group, more mature discussion. And we had a lot of fun. The last one we had a really good turnout and lots of questions. We had some newer pagans show up, and they were asking some really good questions, asked for some clarification about some dreams, and we had just had a really great time. The 2 hours just flew by so fast. So that was great.
Well, that's neat, and I like to see sort of a mentorship in the community.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah, and Crohn's is open to all age groups, but it's usually reserved more for adults only. And it's so that we can share the knowledge, share our experiences.
Absolutely. And that's so important because education is definitely part of the vision of SAPA is bringing education and awareness. And I believe we recently passed the Credo through board approval, and we now have it on the, everywhere, the website, the Facebook page. Again, if you want to check us out on Facebook, Southern Alberta Pagan Association, it's the only one. Not too many groups with that name.
Yeah, the only one.
There must be only one. So I'm just going to, because I love what you remember that board meeting where we decided on that Credo? And it was very, the actual words that were chosen for it came from all of the people in the board at the time. And I think probably reflect on the values of at least the pagan community that we're working within.
Yeah.
And it goes like this. In a world that is both mundane and magical, I work with the surrounding elements and commit to protecting their natural environment. I honor the people who have walked this land before me. I acknowledge the spirits and ancestors who are with us and devote my spirit to my family, acting with integrity and awareness within and outside my home. I create a welcoming space free from persecution where people can safely celebrate themselves and each other, bringing mindfulness to mirth with tolerance and acceptance for the greater needs of our communal frith. I respect my siblings in practice as they are kin and hearth in all their diversity, and they deserve empathy and inclusion. I devote myself to striving for the best possible education for my kin and future generations with hopes that when we dispel ignorance, we will all grow in character and knowledge. We may not hold the same beliefs, but we are inextricably bound in communicating our trust, gratitude, and love through our words and deeds, working together within the boundaries of our conscience toward creating a home for those who will not let the misunderstandings of others diminish their passion and truth. So that was created, I think, by this. And now, Becca, you're the final board member who has not yet been on SAPA Speaks. And so I feel like this is a milestone that we get to sit down and talk. Before we get back to future events and the kinds of things going on in Sapper, I'm really interested in how you came to this path and the kind of experiences you've had.
Oh gosh, well, I've always had gifts. From when I was a little girl. I could sense energies around me, which kind of freaked my parents out just a little bit. And then when I was a teenager, I actually saw a full manifestation of a ghost, a spirit. And then I had a catastrophic event happen when I was 16. And the spiritual path that I was raised in wasn't answering the questions anymore. So I started searching. And this is how most people come across the pagan paths, is they start to search. And I read, oh gosh, this is before internet, okay, like way before internet. You actually had to have a library card.
I lived in a time before internet. I remember that world.
You can't just, Google something if you have a question. You have to go and find a book. And is it a good book? Is it reliable? So I ended up reading, I don't even know how many books. I lost count at 100, so. And then I kind of stumbled across a book on Wicca. And I started reading it, and it just started clicking. Everything I was reading just started clicking, and I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense to me. And then I just accepted that out of mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Where does that word come from, Wicca?
It is, I believe, English, really old English for wick.
Okay.
W-I-C-E with a little nick.
Like of a candle?
No.
A wick of...
C-E.
Oh, okay.
Wick with a little apostrophe over it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, and translated, it means wise.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that doesn't place in the word wicked, does it? One who's wise?
I don't think so.
I always wonder about that etymology, right?
Right. We were actually talking about that tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
Language evolution.
How do words connect with each other? And so Wiccan comes from the idea of just a wisdom.
Yeah. The hearth mothers, the midwives, that type of thing.
People who know stuff.
Yeah, we know how, this root will make you feel better because, you have a fever, so use this. If you have a tummy ache, eat this. It's more in tune with the natural world, and everything we need is right there. So. And I think we also talked tonight about how some of that knowledge was lost. It was, yeah.
Right.
Through various methods, it was lost, and now we're kind of in the process of reclaiming it, rediscovering it.
So how does one reclaim or rediscover that ancient knowledge?
A lot of reading, a lot of research, and then kind of figuring out for yourself what works, what doesn't work, and just kind of reinventing what was there.
Do you think some medicines and cures and old ways of doing things, do you think that they're in many ways superior to some of the new ways of doing things?
Sometimes, yeah.
Once in a while?
Once in a while, yeah. I mean, I will still always use aloe vera leaves versus what you can get at the drugstore.
Right.
Because I find it works better and it's not as gross.
Right, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Why use antibiotics? Yeah. Unless you have a true infection. If you just have a cut or a blister or something like that.
There are home remedies.
There are home remedies.
Yeah.
So have you studied home remedies a lot?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what have you studied mainly in your pursuit of pagan knowledge?
A fair bit of divination and herbs, use of herbs.
Okay. And also I remember from the Yule Bazaar that you were the incense queen.
Okay, sure.
Well, incense and candles, and you were showing people how to put the powders together and how to carve the candles and stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm primarily a fire witch. I like to work with the element of fire, and I do so a lot, and I'm just really connected with it. So, if I can set it on fire, I'm there. I'm not a pyro.
And again, as with many episodes of Sapa Speaks, I have to say that we do work within the municipal bylaws.
Yes, we do.
And we do not do any unauthorized pyrotechnics.
No, my fires are contained to candles, fireplaces, and a censer.
So what kind of security measures or precautions does one do before using fire in the home, both on a physical level and also on a spiritual level?
Well, one is being aware of your environment that you're working in. Make sure there's, especially with fire, because it can waver and you can lose control of it. You want to make sure there's no errant drafts. You want to make sure you have some sort of fire suppressant. Water works really good on charcoal, just saying. Might get a little steamy, but or just something to sit over top of it.
But definitely worth it. And we were talking tonight also about wards and protective measures.
We were.
As a part of the Spirit Warriors workshop, which if you choose to join Spirit Warriors, that is exactly the sort of thing that you can learn about. So I'm wondering, when working with fire magic, is there a unique set of protection measures that you use, or do you just use wards that anyone uses?
For me personally, I have become so in tune with the element of fire over the years that I don't really need to do any precautions. But creating a circle would, if you're new at this and you're not sure if you can, and this goes with any of the elemental energies, create the circle, create your sacred space to keep the energies in there. And, you know, if things go sideways, put out your candles.
Yeah.
Because that's the source. So.
Right. Absolutely. Wow, that's lovely. Any books that you would recommend?
Oh gosh.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds.
Oh gosh. My first primer was Buckland's Complete Guide to Witchcraft.
Buckland's, okay.
Yes, Raymond Buckland. It's a big blue book with a big pentacle on the front. It's
hard to miss?
Yeah, it's hard to miss.
Okay.
It kind of stands out. It's not subtle in any way, shape, or form. It is a little dry in the writing, but the layout is quite nice because it's broken up into lessons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is more of a coven-based than a solitary, but anything can be adapted.
Absolutely. And there are books on, I think Cunningham wrote the solitary
he's my other favorite author.
Oh, cool. Oh, okay.
His solitary and the further solitary.
Oh, there's a further.
Yes.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it focuses mainly on how to create your own special tools and your own personal path, even more so than his first book did.
So if you weren't solitary enough to begin with, you can go beyond solitary.
Yeah, it's kind of like the advanced book.
Yeah, advanced soloness.
You know, for the really antisocial.
For the very, very anti. I really don't play well with others.
I'll play with puppies and kitties and.
All right. We have a friend in the studio today who's into playing with puppies.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you want to take a look at the gallery on our website, which is Southern Alberta Pagan Association wikisite.com or something like that. It's you can access it through the Facebook. You will see several photos of a particular board member playing with puppies, living and chainsaw wood sculpture.
That was beautiful.
That was photos.
Gorgeous.
I have a ton of those photos, by the way. That was just the best one, but there were.
I'm so sad I wasn't able to make it. Next time. Next time for sure.
More magical meanderings.
Oh yes. Well, summer.
Right.
Like every Saturday.
Absolutely. And something else that's coming up in the summer, I hear. Tell me a little bit about Pagan Fest, because the people are dying to know what's going on. Are you going to do it? Is it going to happen? Have you had a meeting discussing it?
We actually have.
Okay.
And so everybody gets to hear it first here on Sapspeaks.
On exclusive.
Right. So we are going forward with Pagan Fest.
Okay, now tell me a little bit about it. Is it going to be indoors, outdoors?
We're going to do it outdoors.
Even though it gets a little windy in Lethbridge?
This is Lethbridge. If you've lived here for more than 5 years, you should be used to it by now.
And if you're pagan, you don't necessarily hate the wind.
And become one with the air energy.
There you go. Be with the nature. Is it going to be at Galt Gardens again?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have one heck of a party.
So,
awesome.
What's planned? It's taking place in which month now?
July.
July, okay.
We're moving it to July.
Moving to July.
Because May in Lethbridge, weather sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Being honest. So July will be nice. It'll be warm. It'll be okay. So I guess there won't be a Beltane pole.
No. But we are still going to have craft tents.
Okay.
We are kicking around ideas for craft, and the front runner right now is the flower crowns, because we know everybody loved them. They were so much fun.
Flower crowns are great.
Yeah. And we're going to have a whole bunch of handmade vendors there as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Stone wrappers, wood burners. We're going to be reaching out to them shortly and seeing who can come and play with us.
Oh, good.
That day, yeah.
Oh, good. I remember one of my earliest memories of a pagan fest, I've been to almost all of them, was Drum Circle. Do you know if there will be anything like that?
We're hoping to acquire.
Okay.
Now, we're still in the planning stages, but we had one heck of a jam session back on Tuesday night.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And we have like 6 pages of just vomiting onto the page of ideas. It was great.
Sounds like you had a great night.
Yeah, it was awesome, and the wings were fantastic.
Any night that ends with vomiting is...
It's not a bad thing.
Welcome to SAPA, the Southern Alberta, the Southern Alberta Pagan Association. We're here live on Jess FM TV, jessfm.ca. A wonderful place to check out also is our Facebook page. We have a page and a group. Just look for Southern Alberta Pagan Association and you'll see both. One is called the community and the other is the page that you can like, and I hope you do. Yeah. And also I've been taking a look at some of the different shows they have on Jess FM. Mm-hmm. And I'm not dressed like this just because I'm going to be a Valkyrie tomorrow handing off candy. I'm trying to show up Levi because honestly I will never look as good as you, Levi, so I just have to struggle to keep up. Seriously, I'm just peacocking at this point. But somebody with our group right before we came on said, can this be your costume for all SAPA Speaks shows, to which I replied, we'll see. But yes, this is probably what I'll be wearing tomorrow as we go out and deliver candygrams to all you people who were awesome and emailed in your requests for candygrams. On time. For those of you who didn't,
next year, but we might be doing something for St. Patty's Day. We might be doing something for Mother's Day. So keep your eyes on our Facebook page because everything's going to be posted there. Yeah,
not 100% sure yet, but St. Patrick's Day, as you know, is that wonderful time of the year where, what do they say? Everyone's Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. Commemorating the saint who drove the pagans out of Ireland. So that's... God, it's a lovely irony that we get to participate in that with our own little flair. Cool.
It's a chance to have fun.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's always a chance to have fun. That's the bottom line, is that people get together and have fun. I know that SAPA has things planned almost every month.
Mm-hmm. At least 6 things a month.
Right, absolutely. There's, I'm trying to think, there was Pagan Pages, right? Mm-hmm. Are you part of that group?
I am sadly not.
Oh, okay. No. But that's the book club that I think you're reading Miss of Avalon right now. Mm-hmm. So that's a neat thing that's happening. And also...
and they're meeting this Sunday.
Right. This Sunday there will be a meeting to discuss Miss of Avalon by... I forget the author's name.
Marion Zimmer Bradley, thank you. And co-written by Diana Paxson. No? Not that one.
Not that one? Oh, okay, you're on to a different Miss of Babylon.
Later in the season.
It's one of the later ones, okay. Neat. And then the other big event that I see being advertised up all over the place is Wednesday's Moonlight Movies. Yeah.
I'm really excited for this one.
This will be a good one.
It's going to be really good one.
We talked with our guest last SAPA Speaks, Diani.
Yeah,
about that one, about Adam's Family and Midsummer. Yeah. We discussed that as well. Another pagan portrait, or I should say portrayals of witches in media. It's usually like the whole pan-pagan idea I don't think has hit the big screen yet. You often see, it's mostly a focus on witches, especially with a TV show.
Sabrina?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
recently. Thank you.
I just finished binge watching it, so.
How was it?
Not bad, but you have to break all rules of reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
In what sense?
God, where do I start? Can't fly. That'd be nice, though, right?
Oh, the flying part.
Yeah, the flying mostly.
However, I've read in some places that taking the hallucinogenic herbs would cause the people who dance. Yeah, the flying ointment, and then they would feel that lifting off the ground, and maybe that's where that particular. But the broomstick, I don't know. Does that play a part in the new Netflix TV show? Do they have any broomsticks?
No.
No?
No, they don't.
They left that.
No, but traveling down to actual hell.
Okay. The hell journey.
Yeah, no.
I'm speaking in complete ignorance. I have not seen the TV show.
Okay.
I have not seen it. But there, one of the other Moonlight movies was Witches of Eastwick.
That was good.
That was neat.
Yeah.
I love that idea. But this one coming up, Addams Family, we talked with Dione about what that has to do with pagan. I mean, Addams Family, right? Well, there's the crone, the elder crone.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Mama.
Always
Grandmama.
looking through the books. And
yeah, doing a little divination thing with bones.
Yeah, love the bones.
Yeah.
Love the bones. That's a great divination tool. I think it's nowadays you get like little boxes with like a stack of cards in them.
Mm-hmm.
Tarots or oracles or something like that.
Oracles,
but it kind of, in a way, that's more. It feels to me like it's part of the pagan publishing community, as opposed to some of the rougher ways of reading, like tea leaves or coffee grounds or bones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Honestly, there's so many different ways of divination.
And this is your specialty, am I right? Kind of?
It's one of them.
You've done a lot of reading on the subject.
Yeah, I've actually probably forgotten more about divination techniques than most people have read.
But what do you gravitate towards? What are some of the ones that you really enjoy?
I really enjoy my tarots.
Tarot?
I have two beautiful decks, and they love me, and they're blunt. They don't beat around the bush, kind of like me.
Oh.
And I also use a pendulum.
Okay.
And I occasionally do runes.
Tell me a little bit more about this pendulum.
Pendulums are good for answering the yes/no question.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Is there like a theory behind how it works? Is there?
The theory generally is that the energies around you will make it swing one way or another in answer to your question. So what I usually do is I hold it with my hand up here, and then I program it. I ask it, what is my name, Becca? And if it swings that way, and then I'll tell a lie, and then it should swing the other way. That's programming it. And then I ask my questions, and then depending on which way it swings.
So what does it do for half-truths? Because, I mean, okay, to put it this way, like, it circles.
If it doesn't know if it's a happy, it just goes in a circle.
Because I've also heard that our names are not necessarily our true names.
Exactly.
And that we have a magical name buried deep, deep beneath, and we have to discover that or something. So I wonder if my pendulum is my name Leif. It would. Yeah, I don't know.
You never know. Let's find out.
For the longest time, I said that Leif was my magical name because Leif Nordholm does sound like a fairy tale character or something.
That's awesome.
But I always wonder, like, does everyone have a magical name, or is it just people who practice and
I never
magic?
actually thought about that. I mean, within the readings I've done over, in the beginning, you can choose your magical name. You can divine it within yourself, through meditation and becoming like really calm and living your true self. But if you go to choose your name, there's different methods to pick. I went with the numerology method where you add up the date, the numbers in your birthday.
Right.
And I picked from there.
I have done that as well.
And then it's just finding the one that really you connect with, that just, you feel it. That's your name.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, because it's that feeling tip that really really decides. I met a shaman overseas who went by Rainbow Manatee.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, and so just as a joke, if we ever gave him a gratitude card, it would be, "Oh, the Hugh Manatee." So bad, so bad. He didn't. He was a very light-hearted shaman.
Well, he might find that funny.
Yeah, it seemed. I mean, you never know. Behind our backs. Oh dear. Yeah. So I wonder, and I ask this, I think, to almost everyone who comes on to SAPA Speaks. If you can remember way back to the beginning of your journey, what was your motivation for getting on that journey?
I think for me, it was mostly finding, where do I belong? Why do I feel so different? Finding a community where I fit, at least as much as I can fit. So, yeah.
Finding community. And SAPA does a really, I think, plays a unique role in helping people to find that community, right? Can you think of, I mean, how long have you lived here in southern Alberta?
My entire life.
Your entire life.
I'll take your sympathies now.
Okay. And yet you made it out without a cowboy hat and cowboy boots.
I am so not country.
Okay.
I'm the furthest from country.
Well, that's all right. Yeah, ditto. No. I wonder, so over the years of your path, because it seems to me that you've been on the path for a really long time. Have you found a community structure like SAPA, or have you found that there have been groups of people who share your views and share your practices? Have you been able to?
Along the way I have. You know,
Okay.
when I was going to university, I found a group called the Society of Pagan Fellowship, which we called SPF for short. No one realized that it's the same as SPF 40 on sunscreen, but okay.
Shielding you from the sun god.
Yep. Protection from raw all the time. Yeah, and it was just a wonderful community where I got to meet other pagans as I came to know the term, and we had wonderful discussions. We had our full moon movie nights, which were fun. We sometimes we were in U-Haul and we'd have a big vat of popcorn and wear our PJs and watch Lito and Stitch a million times because that was all the rage at the time. And we'd have our SBAC coffees over at Esquire's on the west side. It's not there anymore. Sad face. And then, what else did we do? We occasionally went up to Calgary because it was one of the few places we knew of that we could get a better selection of pagan stuff.
Right. What did they have back in those days? It wasn't that long ago. It was just a few years ago.
Oh, it was like 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was some time ago.
So what did Calgary have to offer at that time?
Oh gosh, what did we have? There was a store called The Witchery.
Okay.
And it's no longer in business, sad face. But it was, a friend actually took me there when I was visiting him for a week.
Okay.
And we practically lived there the entire week I was there. And it was just in somebody's house and garage. And I walked in and went, oh, I'm home. Because they had books and mortar and pestles and themes and swords and like everything you could possibly imagine. And then in the back they had a full apothecary. I almost died.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of my student loan money went to that day.
Thank you, Government of Alberta.
Thank you.
And Government of Canada. That was before, I think, the student loans
Thank
combined.
you for helping me further my pagan studies.
Canada, Alberta, this is what you have created.
It's not bad.
It's a very good thing. Okay, so that was your time in sort of post-secondary, having that experience. What about after that, getting out in the so-called real world? Was it easy to make those connections again?
No.
Okay.
No, a couple years after I graduated, the SPF we all graduated, so there was really nobody to carry on that original vision. So And then when we all went, I think I'm actually the only one who's still in Lethbridge from the group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a couple went up to Calgary. Somebody went to Saskatchewan.
Uh-huh.
So we're spread to the four winds.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We're crazy.
Well, because now they have the Cauldron Club, I think, in ULAV.
Yes. Yeah.
There's that, and which is interesting. We don't really talk a lot about them, even though we kind of.
No.
But yeah, and I mean, I know that there's a lot going on in Calgary right now, not necessarily in Lethbridge, but there's a market coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah, which market, from what I understand?
Oh, right, in April.
Yes, April, hang on, I have dates.
April 11th?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, April 11th, and a bunch of us are going to go up there. Are you coming?
Sure, why not?
Because I'm going. This is gonna be fun.
I'm being the death glare because I gave a solid commitment in here. I'm like, I don't know. If I want to, depends on how I'm feeling that day. It's which market or ice cream.
But there's ice cream up there. Peter's Drive-In is up there. You have to have one of their shakes.
You know what? You got me.
There
You got me. Where's Peter's Drive-In?
It is, 16th Street.
Okay.
I don't know which quarter. It's been so long since I've been there.
Maybe Kensington or Sunnyside or something.
I want to say Kensington.
That's where all the cool stuff is.
Yeah, usually.
Inglewood.
Mm-hmm.
Some cool stuff
Yeah.
there too. And then there's a ball.
Yeah, the fairy ball.
What's up with the ball?
It's
a benefit, like a...
It's for Witch in Need.
Witch in Need,
yeah,
right.
Witch in Need.
And as you all remember, we were talking with Jenna not too long, well, probably a month ago now. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Seems like just yesterday.
Yeah, so that's going to be in Calgary, and tickets are $55, and I hear it's supposed to be a hell of a shindig.
I have heard. So for any updates on any of these events, keep your eyes posted on our Facebook group or page.
Yeah,
and community as well.
Yeah, community.
And we'll be doing little updates and telling you about what's going on. Of course, if you follow the rabbit hole to our Wix site, we have our blog, now renamed. It's called The Occultist. It breaks the convention. Have you noticed the convention with all of the things that we do? Magical meanderings, pagan pages, pagan print, Moonlight movies.
Right.
Working with that alliteration. And then I was recently asked what we should change the name of the blog to. So now I said The Occultist.
Nice.
And that just blows the lid off the whole naming scheme. I have disrupted the flow. I'm getting all the negative juju. It's The Occultist. Well, because also in that word occult, and I feel like you've probably run into this word a lot in studying Wicca, it doesn't necessarily have negative connotation.
No.
Like the negative meaning that the connotations have kind of ascribed to it, right?
Right. Well, I mean, occult, witchcraft, some people use those interchangeably.
Yeah, even though
like
they're
pagan.
kind of different things, aren't they? Like witchcraft is the actual craft of it. Occult just refers to that which is hidden or something like that. Yeah, it's interesting, the words that people use. But I feel like occultism goes back to kind of the early 20th century, right? We have all of that, like Madame Blavatsky kind of seance, when the word seance was being used quite a bit. Maurice Maeterlinck and the where they'd have a table, if you can hear me, knock 3 times. What's your take on all that? Do you think that there was something to that, or was it all just a bunch of chicanery?
That's a really hard question. I mean, it could be a little bit real.
Okay.
Because I do know people who can see, sense, talk to spirits. But then you do have charlatans that they're just trying to make the buck with as little work as possible, right? So, so I mean, back in that time, you could have had a fair few true, and you could have had some charlatans. So it's really hard to tell from this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Because who knows? You aren't necessarily going to meet these people and ask them, "Hey, were you trying to fool us?" But there have been so many television shows that debunk spirit mediums and people who talk with spirits and magical things. I think Penn and Teller do an interesting one where, and there was another fella, I forget his name. I'll give you $1 million if you can do something magical. What do you think about all that sort of spectator sport kind of Colosseum style?
Well, that's more stage magic. You know, cutting the lady in half or making something kind of levitate. That really is stage magic. Whereas, well, this is how I view pagan magic. It's more of a, we're going to tweak the flow of energies around us to create more beneficial results for us. So, you know, pagan magic doesn't work like that.
It's not as instant as
it's not as pretty.
A TV show would would make it seem.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be able to. Have you seen The Witcher?
Haven't watched that one either.
Okay,
everyone's telling me to watch that one.
But occasionally, you know, in the big screen, you will see some sorceress or something along those lines cast a big fire spell. Because I'm not a fire witch at all. And they do like this massive fireball or, you know, gouts of flame. And it's like, I'm jealous. That's not how it works.
Oh, no, there have been many cases of, what do they call it, spontaneous combustion, where maybe people have had the fire in them and turned into a pile of ash. That's scientifically documented.
Lost control of the energy.
I'm just not jealous of those people. But when you're talking about fire magic, then you're not talking about spontaneously creating a flame.
No.
You're referring to working with this sort of fire elements. Okay.
And it goes for all 4 elements as well.
Okay. Have you tried other elements?
I have.
Okay. But clearly you did not favor them.
Well, I can work with all of them. I am fairly adept. It's just some of them were more of a challenge to become adept.
Okay.
Because water was kind of a pain to get to be attuned with. Because fire's natural for me, so the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. What about earth energies and air energies?
Those 2 I didn't have much problem.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that because air works with fire, sort of a spreading kind of thing. And earth provides fuel. Whereas water quenches it. I read in a book a long time ago that was specific to the Wiccan path. Is it true that Wiccans will not blow out a candle?
I'll be honest, I have blown out candles.
Okay.
But they're on my cake.
Oh, and everyone's looking and they're taking... And it would be insulting not to...
Yeah.
A ritual candle.
Yeah,
not
a ritual candle I would never blow out.
Why is that?
It insults the element.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, would you pee in your drinking cup?
I don't know.
It's kind of, yeah.
It's like you're spitting on it.
Right.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Proper way to put out a flame, a ritual flame, is to either lick your fingers and pinch it out, or use a candle snuffer.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the
and
best way.
Candle snuffers have been around forever.
Yeah. Victorian times, even before that.
There's some beautiful Victorian candle snuffers I have seen.
I have a lovely one at home.
Oh.
It's pewter. It has flowers carved on it and little fairies. Yeah, I know, right?
And is that Victorian period or is it recent?
No,
recently?
it's recent. I think I got it up at the witchery on one of my 4 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was actually really nice. And the little bell is on a chain and it dangles around, and you actually have to pay attention to what you're doing.
Have I seen that one? Have you brought it to any things? Did you bring it
Maybe.
to Spirit Warriors maybe
I
the
might have.
first time that... And I was
I don't know, did I bring my witch kit with me?
You brought a bunch of incense and stuff.
I might have.
Okay.
I might have, yeah.
I think I might have seen that one. Because it's very unique. I love pewter.
It's
classy like silver, but it's not super shiny. You don't have to worry about fingerprints.
Yeah, yeah.
And getting a little sit on it, not a big deal.
Yeah, it's got that kind of rough texture, and it's sort of, yeah. Yeah, I had a little pewter schooner when I was young, a little statue, and I think a lot of statues are made out of pewter, like little collectibles.
Well, the melting temperature of it is so low, and it's very, very malleable for quite some time. It holds the heat very nicely.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's a lot of sculptors like it.
Yeah, and actually on that tip, are you also big into just crafting?
Oh, yes.
Tell me a little bit about that, because there's a little overlap, isn't there, between ritual and crafting?
There is. I mean, the way I was taught and how I learned is the act of making with intent puts more of your personal energy into the item. So the intent becomes stronger and your wish, your goal manifests easier.
And that's got to be why there's no cooking like home cooking.
Right.
And
there is actually a thing called kitchen witchery. Yeah, I actually have a friend. She is an amazing kitchen witch. Best chicken soup. Anytime you're sick, I just call her up. I actually don't need to call her. I just text her, I need your soup. She'll send me over this nice big container. I have no idea what she puts in it. But by the time I'm done, I'm feeling better. It's so good.
Magic. Could it almost be said that even just choosing something that is not part of the industrial process is a form of magic itself? Because I remember in post-secondary we learned about arts and crafts and William Morris, and that return to, like, the Glasgow School, that return to homemade. And whenever someone would suggest that, okay, we should go back to the craft system, the guild system, rather than this new industrial system, of course they were labeled. For instance, in Glasgow it was the spook school. Well, there must be something wrong with your head. Or the other side being, well, who can afford to not go to Walmart? Who can afford to do all that?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the dollar store and I like Walmart for basic supplies, but you need to do something to it to make it yours. Because then it's just like everybody else's. Anybody can go and buy the same thing. So.
And then we end up with that sort of uniform thought that
that's
is
boring.
So much. And I think a lot of people come to alternative, misunderstood, misrepresented faiths because even they might feel, I'm not necessarily part of this cookie cutter mold.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Read my mind.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's what we do here at Sapa Speaks, the voice of the Southern Alberta Pagan Association, coming to you live on Jess FM TV, jessfm.ca. Just sending out some gratitude to Jess FM for hosting us. This is, now that we've come to this milestone interview, the final member of the board that we haven't heard from, I feel almost a sense of completion. And where do we go from here? Are there any topics in the future that you can see Sapa Speaks is there anything that you want to know more about that we could represent on the show? Everything.
There's so many topics. I mean, we could spend a month of shows just talking about different forms of divination.
Right. I would love that. That would
rites,
be really
different,
neat.
Sabbath rites, Expat rites, different traditions. There's so many.
I was about to open up that Pandora's box and ask, what are the elements of a good ritual? But then we'd be here all night.
Quite simply, it has to come from your heart with intent.
Intention is a big word.
You don't need flowery language. Everything comes down to intent, your intent, and how strong your will is. Because that is basically the fuel to make things go.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we were talking about with crafting. You're putting yourself, your intent, what you're doing into that. Tonight at Spirit Warriors, we talked about those gratitude candles.
Those were awesome.
So cool.
I so want one.
We looked at them on the internet. Oh my goodness. So here's the gratitude candle, and I'm not trying to plug anyone's store, but we got it from Rite of Ritual in Calgary. Livia got it from Rite of Ritual in Calgary. We, the collective we, come on, give me something there. So Rite of Ritual. By By the way, if you want to interject at any point, anyone's leaving a comment or asking a question on the...
Randy says hi, Becca.
Oh.
Hi!
Hi, Randy.
Jenna says hi, guys.
Hi, Jenna. Sorry, Livia picked up a gratitude candle. It's the neatest thing. So I think it's for 5 nights. You burn this candle, and you got to be all over this being on fire.
Yeah.
Fire element.
Yeah, I gotta get one in several colors.
Oh yeah, and several different uses because it's not just gratitude. There's all kinds of different.
Yeah, and from what we were seeing online tonight, it's color coded. So I mean, it should keep it pretty easy even for a baby witch.
Colors. Yeah, and there are different astrological signs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually surprising how influential astrological signs can be.
I wonder if you got a candle for a sign that isn't your sign and you burned it, if you would like attract that sign or bring that sign into your life or those energies.
Or you could start developing those traits.
Maybe.
That would probably be what happens. That'd be my guess.
Well, because you got the sun sign, moon sign, other sign stuff too, right? So, have you gotten a lot into the zodiac stuff? You know, so I'm not telling you anything new, and not even trying to. But, you know, I know that there's some flexibility and that you're more than just your sun sign, right?
Yeah.
So apparently you burn this candle for, 5 nights or something like that. And as the wax burns, it burns down and reveals a crystal. And that crystal, it'll have maybe you can wrap it with wire or something, and it'll have that intention that you were sending your blessings and your prayers and all this stuff.
And the burning, and if you're focusing on that intent, so if you've got a protection candle and you were seeing your house or yourself surrounded in protective energy and you're doing this 5 nights, all that energy is going to go into that crystal. So wrapping it as a pendant is actually a brilliant idea. Because you just spent 5 nights. That's a 5-day spell.
Basically. It's not just off the top of tip of your head on a full moon kind of thing. This is a commitment.
It is.
And then you'll carry that with you. Beautifully poetic. Oh, I like that. So, yeah, this like a spell candle? Like a ritual candle? I don't even know what to call it. Apparently the one that our Madame Secretary purchased did not contain a crystal.
Oh no.
But she wrote to the company, and the company said, "Oh, so sorry about that. These are handmade.
Well, that's good.
Human error. It's not made by a machine. It's not coming off an industrial line. We will gladly send you another one." And
nice.
To replace it. So they were very responsive about that. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Wrap things up here. We've just got a few minutes left on the clock. And usually on Sapa Speaks, when I start talking like that, I ask a big question. Just to put our guests on the spot, because that's important.
I'm ready.
We want everyone to be comfortable. Well, no, okay. Last week's big question was like a huge question. It was Dione, and it was about what's going on with Levy's Playhouse and the changes they're going to make. It's like a lot of people really want to know about that sort of stuff. But you know, I don't want to put you on the spot too much, but
but you're gonna.
Could you walk me through the whole schedule of things like Sabbats and Espits and rituals? Tell me what that looks like, how you perform them, and what you involve. Because I feel like that's a big mystery for a lot of people.
Well, all of the celebrations, rituals, coincide with the turning of the year, or wheel of the year. So they mark certain occasions. So we just had Yule. So it's the dead of winter. And it originated because it's the middle of winter. People didn't have fridges. This is where they go into their larder, their cold cellar, and they see what they have and have a big feast to give them some hope to get to the next one. So it's like breaking up the big year.
Okay. So in these segments, of the broken up year. How do you honor those periods of time?
For the Sabbats, there's usually a ritual, and that is highly based on your tradition or path. If you're solitary, or if you practice with a coven or a group. Sam did a wonderful one for Imbolc for us. That was absolutely beautiful.
It was really good.
And if you're doing it for yourself, you can make it as elaborate or simple as you want. It's really to personal taste. And then each Sabbath has a theme or a specific milestone to be observed. So Imbolc was, we were talking about Bridget, and Hearthfire, keeping it going. Next is Beltane. It's the beginning of, I think it's Beltane. Yeah, it's Beltane. Ostara. Yeah, bunnies and, yeah. It's fertility. Puppies.
Bunnies, puppies, dogs.
Ostara is more for, it's a fertility one, and this is where the first seeds are planted, and this is actually where the broomstick came in. Part of some of the Ostara rituals is people would straddle a broomstick and hop around to show how the grain, how high to grow.
Oh, okay, so sort of an imitative magic in a way. Sympathetic magic.
Yeah. And then going from there, it just, each one marks a different, high summer, first harvest, final harvest. And then aspects are the full moons. So every month there's a full moon.
So that doesn't necessarily follow the kind of Gregorian Julian calendar.
Nope.
Okay, so is there a difference in reception, like a difference in the type of ritual that you might do for an Esbat and Sabbath?
Well, Sabbats are usually bigger because they're a bigger event, and they're every month, 2 months, depending on when they fall. Esbats are every month, and they're usually smaller. It's just, for me, I do a quick little invoking the goddess and God, and drawing down the moon, a little bit of cake snail, and maybe it's a little bit of magic for what I want in the next month, and then I close everything off and off I go.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Well, that was very informative, and thank you very much for coming on the show. Really appreciate having you here. Again, this has been Sapa Speaks, the voice of the Southern Alberta Pagan Association. We're here live on Jess FM, Jess FM TV, and jessfm.ca. Please tune in for this program and many other wonderful programs. And please visit us on Facebook, SAPA, Southern Alberta Pagan Association. You can search us up. There's a group, and there's also a page that you can like to keep up to date on events, and follow the links to the website that will give you all the information about who we are, what we do, and also have beautiful galleries that have been created by some techno genius. I don't know, but they're definitely worth going through those photos and seeing the kind of events that we like to hold and the beautiful faces that come out to those events. And also our blog, The Occultist, brings up all kinds of interesting issues, things that we talk about here on Sapa Speaks, but also things that we don't necessarily talk about, so tune on in. I'd like to thank Becca one more time and say, we really appreciate your voice on the show.
It's my pleasure.
And tune in next week, Thursday, 8 p.m., and we'll have another lively discussion. Thank you all for joining us.